Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on Superman and Lois Season 4. So, even out of the gate, following the end of Season 3 of Superman and Lois, about a month ago? No, yeah, about a month ago, I think, roughly. Anyway, whatever it was. We knew that Season 4 would be quite a bit away, but, it wouldn't be too long. It'd just be into maybe the first few months of 2024 or, next year. And we, of course, already knew that we would be getting less episodes than usual in Season 4, with only 10 episodes coming our way, compared to 15 episodes in Seasons 1 and 2, and 13 in Season 3 that just wrapped up. But now, another spanner has been thrown into the works with the union strikes across Hollywood with both the Writers Guild and the Screen Actors Guild. Of course, the writer's strike has been going on for, I think, over 2 months at this point, probably maybe approaching the 2.5 month mark at this point. And the actors' strike is only around a week old at this point, even if that. And these are important things to take place. I think it would be a bit, quite a bit silly to debate against that. It's oh, this is greedy. Come on, seriously. You get what you believe you're worth, and that's what these two groups are fighting for, as well as fighting for the future of their specific parts of the industry and even the industry as a whole. But this is going to have a huge impact on projects around Hollywood when it comes to delays in upcoming projects or just projects that were already filming at the time of the strikes. And something I was asked a handful of times about, because the whole situation is a bit grey and a bit murky at the moment, but what's going to happen to Superman and Lois due to this? Is there any danger there? Are there any concerns around it? In regards to delays and, potentially even more things than that. And the answer to that is obviously unknown at this point in time, specifically at this point in time. But I think one thing that will probably happen is some form of delay in filming. In regards to the release date for Season 4, which before the strikes, most would estimate around March or something, that could be pushed back. But that, of course, depends on the start of filming, and without both the writers who write the scripts and the stories and the actors who, do the acting, you can't really do much filming, can you? But are those the least of our concerns regarding Superman and Lois, as well as any other shows or films you might love or be looking forward to? Well, no, there are some worst case scenarios as well. However, I have to note and make this clear, I don't think this is, what is going to happen in these worst case scenarios. We will talk about them in a second, but don't believe these are the likely things to happen. They are just a worst case scenarios, and there is a trend, or there is history of it potentially playing a part. But just remember, it is just a worst case scenario, and it would be a surprise if it were to happen. So the first thing here is shows being cancelled due to not being able to be done in time. There is this potential if the strike does go on for a while, and there has been this talk where the studios are like, hey, we're just gonna keep it going. We're just gonna let it linger, let this strike go, and eventually these, mainly writers, but also some of the most of the actors in the Screen Actors Guild, they're gonna have to, start needing money to pay for, their rent, their mortgage, just keep alive, all this stuff. And they're just going to hold out. They have all these, billions of dollars in the bank. They can try and ride this out. And there is a concern that the studios will be very petty and go down that angle. And if the writers and the actors are able to hold it for longer, this could push into potentially next year. Though a lot of people are not predicting that. A lot of people are predicting September, October, a deal will be struck. But that's just a prediction. There's nothing. This joint strike has only just started. So there's no real ground being made as of yet. And when I say shows being cancelled, these are shows that were, renewed. So Superman and Lois, it was renewed. They could easily take that renewal away if they know they aren't going to get the show out by the time they were hoping to, get it out by. And this would go for films as well. And specifically with the CW, we know they're acquiring international content, which is still being filmed at this point. All these shows that the CW has been acquiring, those type of shows would still be filming right now at this point, or aren't going to be affected by this strike. So they'll be like, okay, well, hold on. We've got, we're not going to be able to get Superman and Lois or Walker, for example, on the CW out in time. They do cost us a bit more than if we just acquired these international shows. We'll just offload these ones and just pick up 5 more international shows or whatever it is. That can happen. The last writer's strike about 15 or 16 years ago did have cases of this, not necessarily picking up the international shows, but, cancelling or getting rid of shows that had already been renewed or in the works, whether it was specifically cancellations or less episodes for respective seasons, which then resulted in poor quality, which then led to cancellations because of that. So you need this strike to sort of come to an end, hopefully in the best way possible for the people that make the shows, but also so there's enough time where they actually create a quality product. Now, what is the most likely situation with Superman and Lois? Because it is sort of on the lucky side of things, I guess you could call it that. Yeah, I guess the lucky situation is that Superman and Lois is in, the situation where it isn't planned to come out until next year anyway. They aren't slated to be premiering in October like some current shows do. They have much more wiggle room for this strike. So even if they can't get around to filming until like much later in the year, they do still have enough time to film and get the show out as per usual. And if needed, maybe the targeted release date could be pushed back by a month roughly or something like that. Now, it does feel weird talking about this because I don't think it's right to talk about it, but people have questions. So I just wanted to sort of give a blank statement around what could potentially happen. And this is probably the last time we really talk about really anything like this, because they're not going to be filming anything, or there's not going to be news coming about it because of the strikes going on. But I think it was worth putting out there just so people knew. Now, the worry is for shows that would have been slated to come out at the end of this year and maybe have just started filming or just about to, is that they are the ones that could be in trouble. So this isn't Superman and Lois, but it's maybe some other shows that you're looking forward to, especially any like brand new shows or ones that are only like a season in. COVID had some cases where shows were renewed for season 2s or season 1s as brand new shows, and they were pulled back on and just gotten rid of because of delays associated with the pandemic at the time. Now, the same thing could happen here with those shows that were set to come out later this year, or shows that are only like 1 or 2 years old that haven't really built up a ridiculous audience. However, the shows that already have that built-in fan base, because they are like 3, 4, 5 years old or something like that, probably wouldn't have anything to worry about, because the studio's like, hey, we know people will tune into this, so we can sort of like, we can ease off a bit, and there can be a bit of a delay here, and people will still tune in. And mainly that's going to be like an issue for network TV. Streaming shows just come out whenever, but even some streaming shows could be at risk of this if they are a brand new show. But I think for like current shows that already have that built-in audience, the biggest concern for them would maybe be episode count. So if they normally were like a 13 or 15 episode show or season, they might go down to like 8 episodes or 10 episodes. That happened in the previous writer strike back in the late 2000s, and that could easily happen here again as well. But in regards to what I think is going to happen, I sort of set it up there before. Like, the most likely situation with Superman and Lois is what I think is going to happen. Like, they just don't get back to filming for a bit. I don't know if the premiere date would get pushed back later, like March still, like even if they start filming in November or something, even December, but probably November, they can still easily get episodes out by March. I mean, if we think about like, pre-COVID mostly, when like the schedule didn't get messed up, they'd start filming the show in July and the episodes would start coming out early October, sometimes even late September. So there's still a lot of time there, but it's also about just seeing what happens with this strike in regards to when does it end, so then the writing can start, and then maybe give like a month or something there, and then the filming can start as well. But the most important thing in this whole situation is that this strike comes to an end with a very good deal for everyone involved, and hopefully there isn't any like bridges burned, because that's the possible thing as well. That's a wait and see. And I know all the reports coming out seems like it's going to be a bit of a fight, but it's going to be a very interesting thing to see that happens, because when it comes to these union type of things, it just doesn't affect the specific ones involved here, like the writers and the actors. It involves pretty much everyone in that industry, and even extends out beyond it as well. And it's very important that, things are handled well, and things are handled in a very fair way as well, because as I said, it can stretch out, and people can get influenced, and even worse things can happen. So yeah, it's a wait and see, but fingers crossed everything plays out really well, because, you don't want to see your shows end in, in a bad way, or just not end properly at all. But also you want the fair things to happen as well. So we'll have to wait and see what happens, but fingers crossed. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome to drop a like and show your support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various thoughts on this. Do you have any concerns there? Do you have anything to add? Let me know in the comments. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.